there. It's Dana, and ooh, that's a bad picture. This coat does not look well on video. So, hi there. It's Dana, and I'm stopped, so I'm not driving. I'm taking a class through the Covation Center on business class. And one of the first questions that they came up to us is why? Why did you start your business? So I did some thinking about this, and I started it because I saw a need. I started out in the field in the mid to late 90s as a TSS and through a system called Wraparound, or BHRS. Now, BHRS was developed for educated and delinquent kids. So we were intensive therapists that were meant to be very short term, and we were there to kind of help these kids keep from going into juvie or more intensive services. We went to homes, communities, wherever they needed us, in schools, to help provide some therapeutic services to help them learn different behaviors, help manage behaviors wherever they were, train the people that they were with, their parents or teachers out in the community, whatever. While I was doing that, and actually I remember before I got into that, one of my bosses or mentors actually said to me, "Are you sure you want to do this? There's very little oversight. You have to be very independent. You're working out in the field with nobody with you. It's a fairly new system that's coming into the state that's happening." He kind of tried to steer me away from it, but to me it sounded like fun, so I went ahead and jumped into it, which I'm so glad I did. But over the years, as I was working as a TSS in this system, most of the clients I started getting had autism, and that tended to be my niche. Like, just with my personality and the way that I deal with things, I naturally was just managing behaviors. And I found out later that a lot of what I was doing was basically ABA procedures without knowing ABA at the time. And what I recognized over the years is that this system was not made for kids with autism. Kids with autism needed more long-term therapy and more intensive therapy than what Wraparound BHRS was meant to give. And there was so much more that could be done. And as I moved up through and got my master's, and my master's was in applied behavior analysis, and I became a board certified behavior analyst, and I was a behavior consultant for these companies, I would still kind of try to do the intensive work that I knew these kids really, really needed, based on research and experience and trainings that I had had. But it was difficult because I kind of had to work in some gray areas within BHRS. And I knew it wasn't the right system for them. Through my training, I was able to see some great centers, and I was able to work in other states and see how kids with autism really were getting good services, and how it was just so effective for them that I knew even back then, so the early 90s, early 2000s, I was like, yeah, I want to open a center. And I knew back then that it's what I wanted to do. Now, it took a long time. I think it was, 5-6 years ago now. 2015, 2016 maybe, if that long ago, that I opened GBS. And I did that because I wanted to be able to provide the services that I knew these kids really, really needed. I believe 100% in home, but by providing the center-based, we were really able to control the environment initially and really provide the intensive interventions that these kids need to gain those base foundational skills. And then once we have instructional control, once we've paired with reinforcement, and we've taught those basic communication skills and gotten some of those maladaptive behaviors under control, so they're not interfering with socialization and learning, and we're making just amazing progress, toilet training, some feeding, whatever the child needs, we're able then to transfer that into the home and provide some home services, and really show parents, teachers, community, what these kids can do. Because so often through the years and working so much in home, unfortunately I ran into a lot of parents and even teachers and community individuals that just kept low expectations and didn't see just the amazing things that these kids had inside them, because they were hidden by the inability to communicate and interact and socialize, and they were hidden by, you know, all these maladaptive behaviors and tantrums, and, you know, maybe biting and hitting and all this other kind of stuff. So the expectations were so low, but at the center we keep the expectations so high that they tend to rise to our expectations. And it's just so fulfilling and amazing, because I've seen this at other centers. I've had the ability to travel internationally and see this happen, and I wanted to bring this locally to an area that initially is not very ABA friendly. I'm in central Pennsylvania, so it's not a big ABA area. I could move to another state or another area and would really flourish and probably make 10 times what I do, and our centers would be so packed full that we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves. But it's been very important for me to do this here where it's needed for the people in my community, the kids that I've grown up with, the families that I see at Wegmans and Walmart, and, you know, driving down the street. And this has just been very, very important for me. So that's my why, to bring an effective treatment to the kids in my community that I know is necessary and that's really needed, and I've seen work. So that's my why.